I'd sent you the invite, right?
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll
So
share it later.
yeah, we'll anyway. So okay, we're live. As usual, welcome Laja women to Saath ki Baat Laja ke Saath. Once again, we have a very interesting speaker with us who's going to share so much with us that I think we need to bring down our papers and pens for this. The reason why we have invited this lovely speaker as our guest is because of the theme that we have set for February, which is Plan Your Life. Now, there's so much in the way we plan, the way we go about, that we thought that we needed to connect with an expert who will guide us. So it's exactly 7, and I start Saath ki baat laja ke saath with the dynamic Eitu Vij Chopra. Let me tell you a little bit more about our guest. She is the founder at Karmic Therapy by Itu. She is the co-founder for Rex Ideas for Action. She is the mission leader for Rex Karamveer Global Fellowship and Chakra Awards. She is the co-founder at Rex Karamveer Education Chain Championship Fellowship and Chakra Awards. She is the co-founder for the IVLF International Volunteering and Life Skills Fellowship. Wow, that's quite a mouthful. She has 25 years of experience in education and in the non-profit sector. She is a life coach and an energy corrector, which is a very interesting term that I learned. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what an energy corrector is. And she's a medical medium too. She's done various international courses on energy modalities like Reiki Master, NLP, energy healing and counseling for psychological and sociological issues, along with emotional and mental health wellness. She has had an extensive learning and working experience on various healing modalities such as sound therapy, reflexology, yoga, nutrition therapy, crystal therapy, journaling therapy, talk therapy, and conscious parenting. Wow, there is so much that we can learn from you today. So, we are here because we want to talk about planning, how to plan for your life. Now, planning is a skill, it's an art which takes a lifetime to master. And how do we go about this? What are the things that we should keep in mind when we start? So, I will come down to the first question that I had in mind when I thought of the subject. How does one plan one's life?
Thank you so much, Vandana. And to begin with the answering of your question, but to just phrase all that you have spoken about me into one line, and it's very important for me, and I am humbled by all this is a learning experience, and I'm still a learner in this journey of life. And as they say, that the learner in me is alive, the teacher in me is alive because the student in me stayed alive. So I am a lifelong learner. I believe in learning, relearning, and unlearning. And that's how life is, and that's how we plan our life. And anything
True,
that we plan, not only life, it's a very, very heavy word, and it's a very, very heavy planning. So how do you plan your life? I think the only one thing that you need to use here and implement into discovering of your life, because you can't plan it, but yes, you can discover it. And how you
true.
discover it is through two, three ingredients that you need to have in life, which could be passion, purpose,
Okay,
and junoon. If you know your passion, if you know your purpose, if you know your junoon is a very trans word which embodies a lot of thoughts and feelings. If you have these three things put in place, it's very easy to plan, because if you know what you love, what is your passion, and what is your purpose in life, it's very easy to plan your life. And planning of life is a lifelong process. It happens every day. It is
true,
done every day. So I would say that plan to bloom, plan to evolve, and plan to grow every day, and plan to learn, relearn, and unlearn every day. And that's when you start to see that your life starts to take a path which is channeled towards what is meant for you. And once you start loving, and once you start finding the purpose with the love, then it's so easy to keep planning to do the next step and the next step and the next step. So, first and foremost, for everyone who's wanting to plan life, is find your purpose, find your love, find your genoon into what makes you tick every morning. What is that one thing that when you wake up in the morning, it makes you like jump out of the bed and say, yeah, I want to do that. So, that is one thing that would help us to make planning very easy, and that would be also
Okay.
realistic planning. On the other side, this question is so vast and this question is so dynamic that one must also say that, if we say how do we plan life, do you mean planning of studies, do you mean planning of work, do you mean planning of you know um, family, do you mean planning of relationships, what is it that you want? And to sum it up, what I just said, that if you are a passionate person, if you're someone who's living with purpose, then all of this falls into place. It becomes so much easier to do it. That's what
Okay.
I feel, and that's what has been my experience in life, and that's what I feel as a life coach that I have been telling people, that find your passion, and then when you make your passion your profession, it is so much easier to plan it thereafter. I hope
So,
that
so
suffices.
the first step is to finding yourself. Correct.
Yes, yes,
Yes. So this goes so perfectly with Laja's, mission. We always talk about, people come and ask us why we don't talk about empowering women, and the answer we give them is that women are already empowered. It's just for them to look within and find that spark. Find that life in them. Once they have found that, then nothing is going to be a challenge for them. So
absolutely.
yes.
I'd like to add one more thing here, which is, in our society, we talk about love. We talk about self love. And then, along with self love, for women, not only in India, but all over the world, we talk of selfishness. Because you're
Hmm,
supposed to do as a woman, after your family is eaten, you eat, after your children are taken care of, you do. But I
true.
look at it other way around. Self love is selfishness, and selfishness is very, very good, because selfishness is soulful and it is self care. When my cup is full, and it is overflowing, I can share it. And if my cup is not full, I will not be able to share it. So, if you want to do anything in life, fill yourself, and it's not selfish. Let's break this social conditioning as well.
Yes, I think we need to start early because this is, you're the second person who's telling me that we need to be selfish. And I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, how can you say something like that? We have always been taught, we have been conditioned to be selfless. And how can we, think of suddenly changing that and becoming selfish? But you're so true. It has to be done like that. If we are not cared for us, we don't care for ourselves, how do we care for the others?
Yeah,
Wow.
and also, even if we are talking about environment, if you're talking of good society, if you're talking of lawlessness, if you're talking of anything, we are talking from a very selfish point of view. I would say, as an educationist, that, or as a mother, that I am selfish because my children are also going to live into this world. If I'm not selfish about it to make it so good and beautiful, how would I give it to my children? So yes,
True.
selfishness over the ages has taken a very negative connotation. It's not a negative word, it's a positive word, where you are doing things for making better for yourself and then for others ultimately. So, yes, that's what women have to adopt as well. Be selfish.
Yeah.
Good,
True,
it's
true.
soulful.
Yes, absolutely. So, coming to my second question, what if, we have looked within, we have planned, and we have found that passion, and we have gone ahead and made our plans? But what if those plans go wrong? How does
Hmm.
one deal with failure? Because failure is something that people are not ready to accept, right? So, what does one do if one fails at something, at the plan?
Yeah. So this is one of my very, very favorite word and very, very favorite subject. I've written papers on failure. And
Okay.
there is a very beautiful term in Hebrew called abracadabra. Everyone has heard of
Ha.
it. Abracadabra.
Yes, yes, yes.
Abracadabra literally means I create what I speak.
Okay.
I create what I speak. So we all have the power to create what we speak. That is one. So we can create it. But when we are creating it, we can fail. So failure is the groundswell of very, very innovative, creative human power. All the powers that we have within us. Failure is one of the most creative power, because failure is the biggest teacher, it's the biggest
Yeah.
mentor, it's the biggest coach. And when
Okay.
failure is looked upon as a mentor, teacher, and a coach, then every time you're failing, you're learning. That must be kept in mind, that every time I fall, I learn. And that learning I have to take forward, because if I use failure as a mentor, teacher, and a coach and a learning, then I'm using it to accelerate my learning, accelerate my life, and accelerate and go upwards always, like an ant
Okay.
falls and comes back and falls and comes back. That's exactly what failures do. They're always making us learn a new lesson. We have to keep those lessons into the book of our life. We have to
Jotted
remember
down
them,
and
we have to write them, and we have to learn from them. We don't have to lament about them. We don't have to sit sad about them. We don't have to say, oh, I'm unlucky. Oh, I'm never going to do it. Pick up yourself and say, yes, I failed, but I learned. And I have had so many, many instances in my life and with so many of my clients where failure is a learning ground. It's that open field where you will run, you will bruise, but you will one day be running a marathon in your life and you will never, never regret it. So our mindset has to shift. Again, I would come back, then there is a huge amount of social conditioning. Failure is looked upon as a taboo, whereas
yes.
failure should be celebration, because failure also gives rise to creativity. And we have so many examples in the history, from Einstein to Steve Jobs to so many people who have failed to, but achieved so much in life. So there is no curriculum, there is no school, there is nothing, but failure in itself is such a beautiful teacher and helps us to learn better, helps us always to learn better. So, yes, if your plans go wrong, if you shift your mindset, you will gain. I also say that all the mindset lies here. Our brain is the most beautiful thing, that our nerves when wire and fire. When I tell myself I failed but I learned, I'm actually changing the chemistry of my body, which is telling me to move forward. Never mind. So
Interesting.
you have to tell yourself the right. Again, why I come back to the abracadabra, that we create what we speak, our voice, our sound, our thoughts, our energy, and they also move forward before us. So, the fastest energy that moves faster than light and sound is intent.
Hmm.
It's been proven by science. So here, that shift will help us to move forward. So failure is just another teacher, and I think the best teacher, the best coach, and the best mentor. The mindset has to shift, and this taboo has to go off, that failure is wrong. Who said that by 16 you should have done your 10th? Who said by 30 you should be married? Who said by 35 you should have had two kids? Social conditioning.
Social conditioning. True.
So unlearn to learn. That's been my mantra, and that works. And science is
Wow.
substantiating all this. And we as women need to say that now, yes, it's okay. Everything is okay. And I think we as women, when we learn this, we also say this to our children. It is fine. Everything is fine. And then, there is too much of debate around this again. I mean, I could go on and on about failure.
No,
So,
it's interesting, because I guess this is a conditioning that we have, that failure is failure. I mean, I think there's so
true.
much of negativity involved with that word,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you, as a educator yourself, you as somebody who's also involved in academics, is saying this, and I hope there are many more teachers and uh, I think teachers also fairly for a level, understand that. But I think it's the parental pressure, again, which comes down from social pressure. Oh, this is a vicious circle we live in. Terrible, terrible times.
So, so,
um,
so failure teaches us perseverance, and also
yes,
teaches us never give up. So perseverance and never give up is a very beautiful combination. Imagine if we
yes,
all had this perseverance and
true,
never give up. Then
true.
failure will one
Wow.
day be success.
Again, you're talking about Einstein and these great people who have a name for themselves. But yes, they have also failed along the way, and we are celebrating
Absolutely.
the successes that they had. We are talking of the great things that they have done without actually looking into their lives and understanding that they have also stumbled along the way. Wow, this is so
So we
interesting.
have to discover, and we need to start from the genesis. We always look at the top. We always look at
Yes,
the top of the iceberg. It's always good to go down. What is the learning? How do we get it? Where did this
true.
word come from? And that's where lies the learning.
Hmm, true. Okay. Now, when we come to this, we are talking of planning. Now, people generally say that you have your plan A in place, but always keep your plan B ready. And I was you these videos that you see, and I came across Arnold Schwarzenegger's video. I'm sure you would have seen it too, where he categorically says that you shouldn't have a plan B, because if you have a plan B, then mentally you have already failed plan A. Your focus has shifted from plan A to plan B. So, what is your take on this? What do
Uh,
you think?
I totally don't agree with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It works for
Okay.
him, good for him. But I personally believe, and I have seen with my own life and a lot of people that I work with, and there are huge amount of examples around us. I studied masters in literature. I studied my MPhil, my MEd, BEd, all of that. I taught, but
Hmm.
I always knew that I want to do something else, and I got into social development sector and marketing and sales of something that
Okay.
I had never done before. But one thing that I had within me that I knew that I can do it. So never say never is the mantra. Also,
Okay.
change is the best way to create your future. If you're
Okay.
not ready for change, because life is never constant and consistent, so how can you not have plan B and C and D also? So I would say don't only have plan B, but also have plan B, C, and D, and be as passionate and as resilient and as full of josh for each of them. If you have one thing common with yourself, that is passion and resilience, to do that, then you will do everything in with that beautiful meticulousness. So also along this, so lap up the change, because if your skill set would not change, your character is what comes out through change. Competence is one thing, character is another. Your
True.
competence is your degree. Competence is you may be very, very fashionably or expensively degreed. Maybe you would have gone to Harvard, Stanford, or wherever. But if your
Okay.
character is not in place, then all of this will come down. So if even in your plan A you have been doing very well, and if your character is not placed, A will not succeed, B will not succeed, C will not succeed, D will not succeed. But if you have had your character in place, if you have integrity of character, you have kindness, compassion, you have resilience, you have all of these powers within you, if you have all of that, then none of your plans can go wrong. So you could be changing one thing from the other. What you will carry forward is your character. And when you have that character which is very, very solid, then nothing will go wrong. The plan A will also stay and plan B will also stay. And because circumstances change, life changes, life is never the same for any one of us. We all know it.
True.
It was the same for me for last year from now, 5 years from now. So be ready for the change. And there are a lot of things that are changing, and this is my philosophy, and this has worked for me. I've written papers on this. My school program that we have been working on at Rex is also talking about all this, that we need to equip ourselves, our children, our next generation for change. How far are we going to have these jobs that are being there? There's going to be artificial intelligence that is going to take over. So maybe
True.
lawyers are not going to be there, maybe doctors are not going to be there. Are we equipped for the change? So how is it even possible to stick to plan A and not have plan B and C? So you have to be smart enough. And if your character is in place, nothing can go wrong.
Okay,
So be your own.
somebody's asking me, what do you mean when you say character? Do you mean willpower? Ruchi Bansal has asked. By
Yeah.
character, do you mean willpower?
Yes, by character, I mean your mindset, I mean your power, I mean your values, I mean your inner innate resilience. That when I break down, I have all of that to break through. I fall in the black pit, but never mind, I will rise up and shine. And here I'd like to give an example of people that we talk at my Rex, at our Rex Karambi Fellowship and Awards. It is for people who have this character. They've not been degreed, they've never gone to college. I'm going to tell you a very small story that everybody knows about Dashrath Manji. He is and has been an inspiration for us. Dashrath Manji is called the Mountain Man. He
Yes.
comes from a community of Musahar. Now, Musahar word comes from the term rat eating people. Musahar is Musa. Her Musahar, the people who eat rat. So, India shining in the outskirts of hinterland of Bihar and UP. There is a community even now. They are called Musahar. They are untouchables within the untouchables. So, there is hierarchy even between the untouchables. This man, when he lost his wife, because he could not cross the mountain, he cut the mountain. He said, I'm going to cut the mountain. People called him madman. But with his chisel and hammer, small chisel and hammer, he cut the mountain. How many years? 22 years. Morning, evening, 5 hours. Cut through that mountain, cut and found a road which is 18 kilometers long road. Would go and do a dihadi in the day. What did we have? Character, resilience, that I can do it. And he was not only doing it for himself, he wanted that no other woman should die, like my wife died because she couldn't cross the and couldn't reach the hospital. Those are the kind of people we need. If they can do it from coming from such a community, what stops us to kind of bring in our inner resilience and our grit and our power to bring in that change? So I would say that please go ahead and make plan B, C, D. So yes, whoever asked, it is your grit, your
Ruchi.
inner power, your inner Josh, and your inner hero potential. Make it so
Wow.
strong.
Wow, I'm a little speechless after hearing that story. I've heard of that story before, but to actually know, interact with
Yeah, he
somebody
got
who
a
has
state
met that
funeral.
man.
He got a
Yes.
state funeral, and people talk of him. A movie he's made. So what is left? What did he have? He had character, and I have so many stories on our X platform about such people because we celebrate the heroic potential in people from the crevices and croonies of the country. Nobody knows. These are the stories that need to be told. These
Yes,
are the
these are the
stories that need
stories
to
that need to
inspire
be told.
men, women, everyone, and children.
Yes, true, true. Coming back to planning, when we say we make a plan, how long should the plan be? We have, like, the government itself says there's a 5 year plan, and we talk of investments in 15 years or 10-year plans. What what is the time frame? Is there a time frame?
The realistic time frame, according to me, I am very unconventional in a lot of things, and it has worked for me. It has worked for a lot of people, and I'm saying it. Um, the realistic time frame, I would say, is today and now.
Okay, okay.
So, what are you doing with your day? What is your plan for the day? And it has been proven by science that if you plan your one day and then you plan your 21 days and you've made it into a habit, then it will carry on.
Yes. Okay.
So, so planning your day every day, that meticulously helps to plan your second day, helps to plan your week, helps to plan your years, helps to plan your life. And that's how you need to kind of, it's a continuous work. And if you think I've planned today and I'm going to sit, no, that won't happen. Even when you sit, you need to plan. So I would say that to each his own. 5-year plans for the government have never worked. We are all creepy for that. So let's not even go there. But yes, it's always good to have plans for 5 years, 10 years, 1 year. But it works very differently. I can't say that, that's the way it has worked. But I would say that have some planning for yourself, that that's how I'm going to shift myself or change myself or learn myself. So a realistic point, from the realistic point of view, believe in making your today better, because if you are fulfilled and you've done what you wanted to do today, it kind of inspires you to make your tomorrow better. So keep your inspiration going, keep your planning going for the day, because that helps you to plan for your year and years ahead. So
Okay.
I would really not have the time frame to give you an answer to that question. Sorry, but that's how I look at it.
But yeah, like you said, each to his own, and each one works differently. And you were talking about, you plan your day every day, and if you do that for the next 27, 21 days, it becomes a habit. Yes, I was going to ask you, what about cheat days?
Um, yeah, the cheat moments should also be there. I would not say cheat days. I would say cheat moments should be there in your day. And
Okay.
another thing that was very, very important is persistent, consistent effort. So even if you're
Yes.
cheating, that also should have persistent consistency. And I'm going back to the place that risk and dare.
True.
Something, because that's a huge, huge learning. So don't shy away from risking and daring. And also don't shy away from falling down and breaking down, because when you break down, only then you break through. So yes, cheat.
Wow.
Yeah, when you break down, you break through, and when you cheat, is you move forward. I don't know how do you define cheat, Vandana, but it's okay to cheat. Again, these words have been so misconstrued and so
Exactly.
tabooed, and are no words. So I think it's okay. I would say it's okay. I do cheat. I will not say I don't. I do, and I'm
We're all
very proud
human.
about it.
Yes, we are all human. We
I'm
need to
very
do that
human.
once in a.
I'm
Great.
very human.
Okay, so now I'll come back to another pressing question. When we were talking about planning, somebody told me planning and goals are the same. And then somebody told me, you know what? No, goals are separate, plans are separate, your vision for your life is separate. So how are they? Are they really separate, or are we compartmentalizing them like that?
Um,
Ah,
I'll break your question into few parts. You talked
yes,
about
please.
vision, and I'm nowhere saying that don't plan your day or something. Have a vision for your life. That's what I want to make. Have a vision for your life. For me, I knew that my vision for my life, or I knew that always, that I love working with people. I love uh, sharing my knowledge with people. I love children. I love that energy that children bring, students bring. So that
True,
is one. Two, you must have a vision in life, that this is where I see myself. Am I going to make a difference in my life? I'm going to make difference in other people's life. What am I going to do? So that is another thing, the vision. Another analogy I would like to give is that goals and planning. Now your goal is your destination, and your plan is your journey. That's the analogy I've made. So your goal in life is your destination, that I want to reach here, and your planning is your journey. If you are not going to enjoy your journey, you reach the destination whenever, it's not going to be enjoyable. So the journey has to be planned. If I'm going from Delhi to Amritsar, how am I going to go? That's planning. How am I going to go by car? What time am I going to go? What time am I going to reach? And once I reach there, that's my destination, and that's my goal, to reach there. So yes, um, goal is your destination and planning is your journey. How do you want to do it? And I feel that your planning should be beautiful, meticulous, enjoyable, and thought over, because that's what matters. Because in the path of your journey, in the path of your planning, is where you're going to enjoy, is where you're going to learn, is where you're going to grow, is where you're going to evolve, and is where you're going to learn and relearn and unlearn. Because when you reach the destination, then you would have gathered so much over this journey that would, reaching the destination then, would be worth it. I hope that
It's
suffices.
so interesting. Yes, you have cleared up some amount of the confusion there. But you know what? The one thing that kept me, really what struck me is you keep talking about learning, relearning, unlearning, and that's so
Always.
beautiful. I mean, it's amazing to hear that. And I've recently written an article for somebody on this topic, and we were discussing that, and I was like, it this is something which again I think we need to be teaching people, teaching children, especially. We talk of we feed them so much of information in a day, and yet somewhere I think we also need to teach them to unlearn all of that too. uh, I don't know if I'm spelling it out properly, but I think that's so beautiful. Learning, unlearning, relearning is. I think it should be.
Lifelong.
It's lifelong. It is. It's amazing.
And also,
Okay,
why
Prerna.
I keep saying this is because each one of us knows that something that worked for me a year back doesn't work for me any longer. My learning has to undergo a change for me to evolve and grow. So you need to be
True,
conscious about that. And every time you're conscious about that, then there is persistent work on it. So prior planning helps to find that. So if that planning is in your mind, that it's okay. And you could be learning from a 5-year old, from a 10-year old, from a 80-year old to a 90-year old. Learning
true,
can come from anyone. And I think our children and our young people, I learn so much from them. And every time when you're open to meeting someone, you're learning something. You need to be open to that. And if you are open to that, then the planning part is taken care of. The journey part is taken care of.
true, true. Wow. Okay, now we have Prerna Vaswani who's asking you, ma'am, suppose we make plans, but execution doesn't happen. Sometimes our laziness, sometimes family doesn't support, or sometimes society. So, how can we plan and execute it?
I'll come back to the first question that you asked me, Vandana. This, when you have the passion and when you have the genoon and when you have the purpose to do it, nothing can stop you. And you have to give it a thought. And when you say that, the family pressure, the execution part, this is all within us. When someone wants to do something, nothing stops. And I just gave the example of Dashrath Manji.
True,
When you want to do something, nothing can stop you. He found time, 5 hours in the morning, 5 hours in the evening, to go and cut the mountain, and then in the day do the dihadi. So I think nobody has that kind of a life that he had. On that
true.
note, to what's her name?
That's Prerna Vaswani.
So Prerna, I'll give you another little story from our Karma Kari books at the Rex, is of Tulsi Munda. Now this lady, born in 1948, comes from a district of Kalahandi in Bastar, back of beyond tribal area, felt that children should study at that time. But whenever she would talk about it, everybody would shut her. So she self-taught when that Vinoba Bhave movement and all of that was going on. And at 16, when she comes back to her village, she tells the sarpanch and she tells everybody, I will teach children, because she has acquired some kind of an education. And the sarpanch and everybody in the village tells her, who can, if the children will study, then who will do the work, who will herd the goats, and who will take care of the cows and the household work. She says, okay, I'll teach them after all this work is done in the evening. So she begged the sarpanch to give her the courtyard of panchayat over there. She started teaching them. Children started coming, and then the children became so much. Then the village gave her a land in the forest, thinking that in the forest children will not go, and her all this will also go. She said, "Okay, I'll go and stay there." She started living there. Children started coming to study, and you will not even imagine the number of children that have passed out of her school. Take a guess, Vandana.
Uh,
1,000
say,
students.
wow. I was going to
How
say
many
100.
schools we have created? 20 schools. These two stories are true stories. Go and Google them.
Yes,
20
I've heard.
schools. She has never been to school. She has never been to school. She comes from a district of Kalahandi. She comes from Kalahandi in Bastar. It's a true story.
So if
So,
people like that can do it, then what stops us? Is
so
the
it was
question.
we who stop ourselves. So break those shackles. Break break through those times where you feel you're breaking down.
It's interesting that Prerna has asked this question because a similar question came to me earlier also from another Lajja woman named Swati, and she too asked me the same thing. How does one overcome, pressure from the spouse, from the in-laws, and plan and do something. And when she sent me the question, she was slightly apologetic, asking me, "Is it okay to ask such a personal question?" And I'm
Absolutely
like,
okay. I love it.
yes, all questions are welcome. And
A singular focus. That's why I'll go back to the word passion and junoon. So junoon is a Persian word, which is close to trance, almost being a little heady about what you want to do. And if you're that heady about what you want to do, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. And
true.
I have dealt that in life, and I'm giving the examples of these wonderful, great people who we at Rex draw inspiration from, who I draw inspiration for, and I have a lot of stories like that.
We will have to have another session with you where we can share these stories. Okay, now another Laja woman, Bhavna Mehta, she is the chapter head at Mumbai, and she says, "Now I'm past the half century age group. She's 55, I think. So she's saying, how will it differ and how can I make a difference now? How can I make plans now?"
Nothing differs. Age is a number, time is a
Yes,
number. And I was the other day only reading about few of these women. Wahida Rahman at 75 has taken up a
yes,
new hobby, which she always wanted to do was photography.
yes, I read that too. True, yes.
Age is just a number. If you want to do, we have so many. We at Rex Karamir also celebrate people from 7 to 75 and
Wow.
above, who are making a difference in people's life and who are doing something that they feel for. So, yeah. I also run marathons. The Pinkathon icon has been for last 3 4 years. A lady who's almost 100 now. She's from Punjab. I'm forgetting her name. So she started running marathons about 10 years back, and she is the mascot now.
Yes.
So you are just 55. I think your life has just begun, and I think at 50, 55, you have done your duties. You've done what you had to do with your family, with your children. I think it's now time for you to kind of go back to yourself and start doing what you want to do. Maybe make yourself better and make the world a better place.
I can vouch for Bhavna. I know her personally, and I know that when you meet her, she has this very lively. There's this aura around her which is full of positivity and all of that. So yes, Bhavna, I think just go ahead and do
Just go
something
and
that
do
you've always
whatever
wanted to
you
do.
want to do. I mean, whatever. I would say whatever, because it's when we are 75 or 77 or 78 or 90, when we are sitting down there in the couch and we can't move, and Bhavna, if then you will have that regret, please don't have that regret. So kindly go ahead and do what you want to do.
True. So yeah, if the main focus that I'm getting over here, the main point that hits me is it's all in our head, correct? I mean,
Mindset shift.
the mind has to shift. Wow, tell us something more. I mean, we are getting to. I will. I can continue on and ask you to keep on telling me stories, but I want to hear a lot more. Please do. Please, I am running out of questions. Just
So
inspire us a
the
little bit
mind is
more.
So as I said, the mind is very, very powerful tool that we have, and mind is so when you preempt and when you say that you want to do something, when you if you Even just shifting your thought that I can do it from I have done it, even just that much brings about a shift. When you have thought in your mind that I can not only do it, I have done it. So visualize it. Actually visualize. Close your eyes, and I'll go back to Bhavna. I don't know what she wants to do. If you visualize and close your eyes, I'm going back to my energy work. If you close your eyes and visualize that I want to do this, visualize yourself sitting in that office, or visualize yourself painting, or visualize yourself taking up a hobby, or visualize yourself working with children, whatever you want to do. Just see yourself doing it for at least 21 days in your head every single time. And before the 21 days is over, you will see that you're already doing it. And it will start happening for you. Because our nerves, when our nerves or our brain's wiring is fired by our thoughts. And when we fire our wiring with that thought day in and out, day in and out, it actually changes the chemistry of our mind. And when
True,
it changes the chemistry of our mind and our body, and the things start to happen, we begin to take action. So ideas are great, but those ideas have to have an action, always an action to the plan. So
true.
at Rexaram, we talk about ideas for action. You have ideas, great, but what is the action? You have to take the action for it. So if you're
True.
wanting to do something, act upon it.
Julie, another member has said, I love to help people. So basically, I like to do social work. But in today's world, money also matters. So I always dwell in two directions. Choosing a plan that drives you is a bit difficult, which I'm facing. So Julie is confused. She's saying, how do I choose a plan when money is also a question? Correct, Julie? Yeah, I guess that's what she's asking.
So
So you want me to repeat the question?
no, I got the gist of the question, and I would say that she
Okay.
means to say that she likes helping people. So I
Yes.
so I think I we talk a lot about volunteering, which is again helping people, and volunteering is the best leadership lesson, or best leadership lesson. Research has proven it, because it teaches us all that an MBA teaches us, because we're doing hands down learning.
Hmm.
So volunteering is a great idea. And if you can spend, you're wanting to do volunteering and help out people, so have a plan to spend at least a Sunday or a weekend or one day where you totally devote it to helping out people, because it will then satiate you, and will also have some tangible effect of your help. So find a day to help. So you can either have 4 days of dedicated helping out people, and the rest of the days you could do your work, which gets you the money. And once you have the money, maybe you'll be able to help better. So there you will have to bring in discipline. And I always say discipline is the other name of self love.
True.
So you discipline yourself that I am going to love myself, and I'm going to do this what I love, helping out people, and I'm going to do 4 days a week. But I'm going to also rest of the days find a way to feed my or get bread on my platter. So yes, do 4 days of helping, or 5 days of helping, or 1 hour of every day. That plan you can make yourself.
Julie, I hope that answers your question. And you're all free to post in any more questions. But yes, Itu, we have about 5 more minutes. So before we wind up, uh, what guide our women? Tell us something that will help us plan, visualize.
Yeah. So never underestimate your power. Never judge yourself. Love yourself, and be persistent and consistent in your passions and your love in your work, whatever you do, and never say never. Never give up. So stay
True.
true to yourself. Be authentic. Be real. Because when you're authentic and real, this authenticity and I'm not saying realistic in a negative way, but be authentic and real in a way that it permeates into everything that you do, in everything in your life. And then authenticity will permeate into your work, into your plans, into your goals, into your relationships, into your work. And it also, this energy, which is just you, your energy, will help you to be this beautiful self that you are, because we need to know that we are just one in this 7 point whatever billion people that we are in this face of the earth. So just you, one unique person, because in your ordinary lies your extraordinary.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I've got goosebumps. This is, it is
I
so
am
lovely.
here right now from all the questions and from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ritu. You have been a wonderful guest. You have actually, I don't feel like I'm meeting you for the first time, and that's the kind of vibe and the energy that you have given us. And I'm sure there are women out at Lajja and all the others who have tuned in have learned so much from you. We will keep coming back to you with more of such sessions,
Thank you.
and thank you so much for sparing your time and such a lot of valuable information that you've given us. Thank you so much, Itu, and thanks to all the lovely people who have been watching us. Till we come back with another Saath Ki Baat, Lajja ke Saath. Thanks to all. Good
Thank
night
you.
and have a lovely year. Bye bye.